Okay, grade 5. We're going to talk about friction now. Now, what is friction? It's a force. And what kind of force is? Well, it's a force that works in an opposite direction from the motion that an object has to go through. Now, friction actually opposes the direction of motion. So if you're moving right, friction will work as for you to move to, or stop you from moving to right. So it would rather that you move to the left side. And if you're moving to the left, the direction of friction will be to the right. So at any time an object move, friction happens. Now, for friction to happen, it has to be matter or material interacting with each other. Okay? And why does it happen? Because when they're touching each other, one side works to the left, which is friction, and one side is working to the right, which is motion. Now, what is friction? It is a force that work against the motion direction. Now, how would friction change with the object? Well, friction changes depending on the surface, if it's rough or smooth. Rough surfaces have more friction, smooth surfaces have less friction. And another thing is how big is the object. Bigger objects will have more friction, basically the force of the object. The bigger it is, the more force it has. Smaller objects will have smaller force and therefore less friction. Again, what is friction? It resists things, it works against them, it does not let them move very easily. That can be good or bad. For example, you don't want your car to be sliding off where you parked it. That's very good for you. But again, walking on icy road can be very dangerous and you could fall down. So friction actually can work with you or against you. And also sometimes when you have machines parts working against each other, friction can break them down. So sometimes friction is good because it helps you work easily and makes your car tire the car stays on the same place you left it. But sometimes it's bad for you, especially if you want your machine parts to stay for a long time. You have to be careful and try to reduce friction between them as much as possible. As you can see in this example, if you have a rough surface, you have more friction, and you have a smooth first surface, you have less friction. Now look at the arrows. It says the longer arrow, so it means more force. And this is a smaller arrow, which means smaller force. So this friction force is bigger than this friction force, and the reason is you have a rough surface here and you have a smooth surface here. And another factor is here you have a little force applied, and here you have big force applied. So both of them actually work to have more friction in this situation than in this situation. Now, what is the effect of friction? Well, it stops a moving ball or a moving object. It lets you hold a bottle. And if you try to hold a wet bottle, it can be much more difficult because there's less friction. It can let you slide and stop. And unfortunately, it can make you fall down if you don't want to. The end. If you have any questions, please email me and please focus on the main ideas in the book. Thank you.